Hey you! Yes you! You click this video without being subscribed? Come on now. You see this? You see what I'm holding? You know what to do next. Nah, I'm just kidding. But anyway, I've been getting a lot of DMs lately, and surprisingly, it was all about those new players who are actually trying to get Aizen, like this Aizen. And I was really surprised because I really thought that they actually needed some guides on gauntlet mode just because of Boros, but I'm not sure. Is Boros still in world number 1, like the raid? Let me know in the comment section below. But anyway, guys, don't worry. As always, I got you. On this video, I'm gonna teach you how to solo gauntlet mode without using any of the Stardust units, any of the tradable units, but only Banner Z units. And we're talking about thousands of seconds, guys, not only like 300 or so, because that's for noobs. You're a noob. I know noob is a newbie, okay? I'm not saying that you were like a bad player, but anyway, you know what? Let's just jump right into the video. I'm really sorry, guys, but we're not gonna do this live, and there's a good reason behind that. The main reason is because the mobs here on the gauntlet mode is actually really fast compared to those most waves on different modes, but essentially the idea is just to slow everything as fast as possible. Step number 0, place your Rimuru. Well, it is not really like important, but anyway, step number 1, you gotta place your Blackbeards as fast as you can. You don't need to max them out, guys. Do not max them actually, because if you will max them, you're not gonna have enough time to place some more Blackbeards just to make sure that nothing is leaking. But this is the first placement of Blackbeard. As you guys can see, I'm just actually preparing. Just the moment I got the cash, I'm now gonna start placing all the Blackbeards needed. So this is the placement, guys. Don't worry, I'm just gonna replay the clips, and after placing 5 Blackbeards, you can just place Gojo right in the middle and hit time stop. As long as you have already maxed out your Gojo, you can time stop, just time stop, and after that, just gonna place your Gojo again. And as you guys can see, I am not really spamming my time stop because, well, they still have the time stop logo. But like what I told you guys, the essential part of this strategy is just to make sure that everything is slowed, not really to be time stopped. So as you guys can see, the mobs are still moving, and just use the downtime while waiting for your next time stop to actually place some more Blackbeards, just to make sure, you know, just kind of like a safe Blackbeard. You can actually place like in a different position, but I just like placing like all of the Blackbeards there, because most likely if ever some of the mobs will actually leak, then we will have some Blackbeards to slow them down. After doing that, just place your third Gojo to time stop again, and you can now actually start placing your units. So here we now have the Kira Prestige and also your buffer unit. Again, guys, you can use any buffing unit as long as it is 250%. As you guys can see, if you're gonna use idol, just make sure that you're only gonna upgrade your idol up until 250%, and after that, you can now continue placing your Gojo and also doing the time stop when the cooldown is already done. Here we're just placing some more Gojos because we're waiting for one important time, and that is the 80-second mark. Around 80 seconds, guys, the Accelerate will actually pop. So around 70 seconds, you should now be starting upgrading and maxing your Rimuru so that you will be prepared once the Decelerates are up. And as you guys can see here, there will only be 2 Decelerates, but for some reason on this recording, my mouse got bugged and it didn't really click the manual ability for the first click for some reason. But since there will only be like 2 Decelerates, after you saw 2, just use your Rimuru's ability. And after that, we're now going to use our Kira. Do not forget to buff him out, and at the same time, you got to make sure that all of the other mobs except for the 2 Decelerates will be inside of Kira's range. And once they're already in, you can now use right names. There you go. And as you guys can see, every mob is gone except for the 2 Decelerates that will walk really slow. And if ever you succeed in doing that, most likely this wave is already over. But the only reason why we don't want to kill the Decelerate is because these 2 Decelerates are what we are calling in our Discord server the cheesing units, because, well, they're actually going to give us the time that we needed in order for us to get a lot of seconds. This one is optional, by the way. You can time stop them while actually on that place, but if you just want to be chilled, you can just place all of your Gojos in the middle just to prepare setting the Gojos up. By the way, guys, this strategy applies to every single wave. The only difference is obviously the HP of the mobs, and since this strategy is kind of like the poor way of doing gauntlet, we would not have enough damage for that. So after setting up your Gojo, guys, just place at least 1 or maybe 2 Dr. Heart or your Law, just for us to be able to use its room ability later once the mobs already pass the bridge. But don't worry guys, later on I'm going to show you where and when to use the room or the manual ability of Law, or maybe Kuma if you're a little bit richer, or probably you're a trader, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, feel free to replace any of the units here, like the slowing unit. If you have Katakuri, then use Katakuri instead of Blackbeard. If you don't have Idol, just use Skeleton King for 250% buff. And if you don't have Prestige Kira yet, I think it's gonna be a little bit trickier, but basically just place your units where I placed my Rimuru. And by the way guys, do not forget, very important, control your highest damage dealer. And in our case, we're gonna be controlling Rimuru because Rimuru would still be able to deal 5.96 million, which will actually kill the slow mobs later. Around 750 to 800 seconds. Actually, you know what? Let's just do 750 to 850 because this will all depends on how good you actually time stopped earlier. But basically, guys, the next step would be about transferring our time stop because the two slow mobs would eventually go out of range. And since we're gonna set up the time stop again, I really suggest for you to turn down the speed like ×1 just for you to be able to set up your Gojo again. But make sure guys that you are not selling your Gojo like all at once, just to make sure that they would still be time stopped. So just do it one by one, and the best placement here actually guys would be after the bridge. All right, like literally on the other side of the bridge. Just be careful not to click anywhere because that would make our Rimuru attack since we are controlling it. But basically we're just gonna do what we did earlier, setting up 8 Gojos just to make sure that we are actually squeezing, or should I just say cheesing, all of the seconds possible. And this would also make or break your chance on getting like 1,500 or probably 1,800 only on wave number 1. After you have set up all of your Gojos, you can now just go back to ×2 or ×3 because we're going to be preparing for the final step of this strategy, and that's going to be all about Law. The timing of when and where to use your Law's manual ability should be easy. So you gotta make sure guys that you are going to use Law's manual ability once the very first mob reaches this corner. Actually, before it actually turned to the next corner, because Law's manual ability would only teleport them to the last corner. So if they will get past through this corner, then the distance where the mobs will be teleported back would be a lot worse compared to them being teleported right to the previous corner. So just gonna make sure that you are not gonna be late on that. Feel free to place a second Law if needed, but basically the idea here is we are teleporting them back just so we can time stop them and we can get more cheesing seconds. With that being said, it is okay to do this strategy with or without Law. But if you want to go further, by the way, you can just stop controlling your Rimuru around maybe before setting up your Gojo, just so your Rimuru would start attacking. And I'm pretty sure you should be able to get 1,500 to 1,700 per each wave. By the way guys, if you are going to use a different damage dealer aside from Kira, just place your damage dealers here like what I mentioned earlier on where I placed my Rimuru. So just control them whenever you're cheesing, and if you feel like killing the cheesing mobs so that you can go to the next wave, then yeah, you can always do that. So that's basically the whole idea on how people are actually getting a lot even on solos. Regardless of your DPS, as long as they can kill those faster mobs, then you should be fine. So there you go guys, that is how you can solo cheese the gauntlet mode even without Stardust units. But then again, I'm not saying that this is the best strategy, so comment down in the comment section below what is your loadout. But anyway, that's all for this video. I'll see you guys again in the next one. Stay cold, use StarCode Snow whenever you're buying Robux.